Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into the world of Elon Musk, the guy who, uh, well, seems to be like single-handedly dragging us all into the future, right? You guys have sent in just a mountain of articles and excerpts, and honestly, it's pretty amazing stuff. So it looks like we're going to try to uncover those key moments that kind of shaped his whole approach to business and innovation and all that.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting about Musk is that his story isn't just about being like this brilliant engineer or even a, savvy entrepreneur, but it's really about how these certain experiences and decisions he made really forged his very unique approach to tackling all these challenges. These challenges that seem, well, honestly, they seem impossible to most people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to the beginning then. I mean, the biography that someone sent in dives into his childhood in South Africa, and it wasn't exactly easy, was it?
No, no, not at all. He faced a lot of adversity early on, dealing with a pretty demanding father and I mean relentless bullying. Actually, the book mentions that he was even hospitalized after this really brutal beating.
Wow, that's intense. I can't even
Yeah.
imagine
Yeah.
going through something like that.
Yeah. And these experiences they really seem to have had this profound impact on him. They instilled in him this resilience and this tolerance for risk, and I'd say almost like an obsessive drive to prove himself. Even as a kid, he was already, I mean, just think about this. He was selling homemade explosives and coding video games when he was what, 12 years old?
Okay, so the entrepreneurial spirit was definitely there right from the
Yeah.
start. Like it's obvious that he just wasn't afraid to take risks,
Yeah.
even if those risks were maybe, well, a little dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't just about the money for him either. The biography makes it clear that even at that young age, he was really drawn to the challenge, that satisfaction of, creating something new.
So fast forward a bit to his college years. He went to the University of Pennsylvania, right?
Yep, that's right. And he actually considered a career in video games for a while. He even threw these legendary house parties, helped pay his tuition.
Wait, really? That's kind of surprising. I mean, I always picture him as, like laser focused on changing the world,
Yeah.
like big stuff.
Well, he definitely was. It's just that his vision, it kind of evolved over time. And so ultimately he chose a different path, beyond video games because he wanted to make a bigger impact. He felt like the gaming industry just wouldn't let him, really address the problems, these significant problems that humanity is facing.
Okay. So the seeds of his dent in the universe philosophy, they were already kind of planted even back then.
Oh, absolutely. And that ambition, that's what led him to Silicon Valley. That's where he co-founded Zip2.
Sure, too.
Yeah, it was an online city guide. It was basically, like, if you think about it, it was a precursor to Google Maps.
Wow. Okay. That's a pretty big jump. Going from video games to like mapping software.
Mm.
It seems like he always had this knack for spotting these emerging technologies.
He did. He did. And importantly, he insisted on remaining CEO of Zip2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this wasn't just about control for him. It was about making sure his vision for the company would be realized, which actually you'll see this became a bit of a pattern throughout his whole career.
Hmm. Interesting. So even in those early days, he was already developing that leadership style of his that emphasized a clear vision and a pretty hands-on approach.
Exactly. And then came X.com, which, as you know, later transformed into PayPal, the online payment giant. Everybody uses it.
Yeah, yeah. And this is where things start to get really interesting, right? I mean, he wasn't actually the original founder of X.com, but he ended up in this power struggle for control of the company.
Right. He had this very specific vision for what he wanted X.com to be. This vision that focused on creating a truly comprehensive, like, online financial services platform.
Wasn't he famously ousted as CEO? I mean, during a really tumultuous period in the company's history.
He was. It happened during a merger with another company, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was definitely a bitter pill for him to swallow. But the remarkable thing is that even after being pushed out, he remained a staunch supporter of PayPal, and ultimately, he ended up benefiting significantly when the company was sold to eBay.
I mean, that really says a lot about him, doesn't it? I mean, he could have easily, just become resentful and walked away.
Yeah.
But he chose to kind of focus on that bigger picture. It seems like resilience is a recurring theme in his life.
It definitely is. And that resilience, coupled with his just unwavering belief in his own vision, that would become so crucial as he embarked on his next ventures, which were arguably his most audacious ventures,
Yeah.
SpaceX and Tesla.
Okay, so we've seen glimpses of those early influences on him, his risk-taking nature, his determination to lead, with this really clear vision. But how did he go from, from software, online payments to building rockets and electric cars? That that's a pretty wild shift.
It is. It is. Yeah, it really is a dramatic shift. But, it was a shift that was deeply rooted in his core beliefs. Remember, he'd always been driven by this desire to make a significant impact on the world.
Right, right. That dent in the universe thing.
Exactly, exactly. And he became convinced that colonizing Mars and that transitioning to sustainable energy, these are the most crucial challenges facing humanity. And so SpaceX and Tesla, those became his vehicles for tackling these huge challenges head on.
So let's talk about SpaceX first. It's hard to believe that he actually started, a whole rocket company with no real formal aerospace experience. I mean, how did he even begin to approach such a monumental task?
Well, he started with a spreadsheet and a lot of research and an unshakable conviction that it could be done. He just immersed himself in the whole world of rocket science. He was devouring these obscure Soviet manuals. He joined the Mars Society, and at one point he even considered sending a greenhouse to Mars.
Greenhouse to Mars.
Yeah.
That sounds like something straight out of a science fiction novel.
It does, doesn't it? But that's often how he operates.
Yeah.
He starts with what seems like this crazy idea, and then he just iterates, until it becomes something tangible, something that could potentially change the world. He's not afraid to think outside the box, even if it draws, skepticism at first.
So how did he go from like a publicity stunt to actually, building rockets?
Well, he met with this group of rocket scientists, and after realizing just how exorbitant the costs of buying rockets were, he famously pulls out a spreadsheet, and on this spreadsheet it details exactly how he could build them cheaper himself.
I can only imagine the reactions he must have gotten.
It's safe to say that not everyone was immediately convinced,
Yeah.
right? But his enthusiasm, I mean, that's infectious, and his unwavering belief in his vision, I mean, that was persuasive. He managed to put together this team of just brilliant engineers and technicians, people who were willing to take this leap of faith, to join him on this quest that honestly at the time it seemed impossible.
And those early days at SpaceX, I mean, they were filled with challenges, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the book that you sent over, it details all the failed launches of the Falcon 1 rocket
Yeah.
and just the immense pressure that they were all under.
Yeah, it was a crucible moment for sure. They faced technical hurdles, financial strain, the weight of everyone's expectations, every failure. I mean, it was a setback, but instead of giving up, they analyzed the data, they learned from their mistakes, and they iterated relentlessly.
That resilience,
Yeah.
the resilience that we were talking about earlier. I mean, it seems like that was absolutely crucial during those really difficult times.
No, it absolutely was. He instilled this culture of problem solving. He was always encouraging his team to embrace failure, to see it as a learning opportunity. He even invited outside experts to come in and scrutinize their processes, acknowledging that they
Yeah.
didn't, they didn't have all the answers. And this openness to feedback and this continuous improvement, that became a real hallmark of his leadership style.
And eventually, I mean, their persistence, it paid off, right? I
Mhm.
mean, in 2008, they achieved this historic milestone.
Yeah.
They successfully launched the Falcon 1 rocket into orbit.
It was a pivotal moment, and not just for SpaceX, but for the entire commercial space industry. They demonstrated that a private company could actually build and launch a rocket capable of reaching orbit, which challenged the long held dominance of government agencies.
That's a remarkable achievement, but it wasn't just about proving that it could be done, right? I mean, he had a much, much grander vision for SpaceX.
Right, he did. He wanted to revolutionize space travel, make
Yeah.
it more affordable, more accessible, and ultimately, enable humanity to become this multiplanetary species. He saw Mars as a backup plan for humanity, a way to ensure, our survival in the face of these potential existential threats here on Earth.
So SpaceX wasn't just about building rockets. It was about pushing the boundaries of what's possible and ultimately, securing the future of humanity. I mean, that's a pretty powerful motivator.
It is, and that ambition, that drove the development of the Falcon 9,
Very
because
good.
it's a large, more powerful rocket capable of carrying, much heavier payloads. They applied the lessons that they learned from the Falcon 1 to the development of the Falcon 9, iterating rapidly and constantly refining their designs and their manufacturing processes.
And he didn't stop there, did he? I mean, he set his sights on reusability,
Right.
which I mean, at one point was considered science fiction.
Exactly. He knew that to really make, space travel affordable, they needed to figure out a way to reuse the rockets, instead of
Yeah.
just discarding them after each launch.
And in 2015, they did it. They successfully landed a Falcon 9 booster
Mm.
back on a landing pad. It was a moment that captivated the world. I mean, it marked this truly revolutionary achievement in space exploration.
It did, and this relentless pursuit of innovation, this willingness to challenge, conventional thinking, it wasn't limited to just SpaceX. He brought that same approach to Tesla as well,
Yeah.
aiming to revolutionize the entire automotive industry with electric cars.
Okay, so let's shift gears then and talk about Tesla. I mean, it seems like he was facing, a whole different set of challenges there.
He was. I mean, in those early days, electric cars, they were seen as slow, as impractical, and well, honestly, kind of uncool. And he
Yeah.
wanted to change that. He wanted to prove that electric cars could be better than gasoline powered cars, and in every single way.
But wasn't Tesla on the verge of collapse at one point? I mean, the biography talks about all these production delays, the financial struggles they had, and even a complete redesign of the Roadster's transmission.
Yeah, it was a really tumultuous period. They faced all these technical hurdles, and Musk's demanding leadership style, his relentless push for perfection. I mean, it created a lot of tension within the company, but he never wavered in his belief that electric cars were the future, and his passion for the project. I mean, it was infectious.
So even in the face of all that adversity, he remained committed to his vision.
Mhm.
It seems like that unwavering belief, that's a key ingredient in his success.
It is, and that vision, it extended beyond just building a better car. He wanted to create a whole new kind of car company.
Yep.
One that challenged that traditional dealership model, one that really focused on delivering this seamless customer experience.
And that's exactly what he did. He created that direct sales model. He built a network of superchargers, and he really focused on creating these cars that were not just environmentally friendly, but also stylish and high
Yep,
performing.
and it worked. The Model S, their first mass market sedan. I mean, that was a game changer. It won tons of awards, and it established Tesla as a serious contender in the automotive industry.
It's incredible. I mean, he somehow managed to disrupt, two completely different industries,
Yeah.
space exploration and the automotive industry. Seemingly, I mean, at the same time.
It's a testament to his relentless drive, his ability to put together these amazing teams, and again, that unwavering belief in his own vision. He doesn't just see problems; he sees opportunities
Yeah.
to push the boundaries of what's possible.
But SpaceX and Tesla, those weren't his only ventures, were they? He had other ideas brewing, other industries he wanted to disrupt.
That's right. That's right. Even as SpaceX and Tesla were taking off, he was already exploring new ventures, like like Solar City,
Yeah.
his cousin's solar energy company, and the Hyperloop, this high-speed transportation concept, that could completely revolutionize how we travel.
It's like his mind is just constantly buzzing with these ideas,
Yeah.
always looking for that next challenge.
It is. It is. He once said that he wanted to die on Mars, just not on impact. It's that kind of audacious thinking that drives him to take on these tasks that just seem impossible, and to push the boundaries of human ingenuity.
So we've seen how these key moments in his life, from his difficult childhood to those early entrepreneurial ventures, I mean, all of it really shaped his approach to business
Yeah.
and innovation.
Mhm.
I mean, he's a risk taker, he's a visionary, and he's a relentless innovator. But what are the broader implications of his work? How will his ambition and drive, how will that shape the future?
Yeah, it really is amazing to think about, just the scope of his ambition. He's not just, building companies. He's trying to reshape entire industries, and he's trying to tackle some of, humanity's biggest challenges.
Right, right. And that's really what makes his story so compelling. It goes way beyond that typical Silicon Valley success story. He's driven by this sense of urgency, this belief that we need to act now, to address these existential threats like climate change, or the potential for some catastrophic event that could just wipe out humanity. So in a way, his companies they're almost like a means to an end.
Yeah.
They're tools for achieving his larger goals of colonizing Mars and transitioning to a sustainable future.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, take Solar City, for example. That wasn't just a business opportunity for him. It was a crucial piece of his vision for a sustainable energy future. He saw the potential of solar energy to really disrupt the traditional energy industry, and to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels.
And his involvement with Solar City, it wasn't just financial, was it? I mean, he played an active role in the company's growth. He eventually became the chairman of the board. It seems like he's not content to just invest in an idea. He
Right.
wants to be deeply involved in shaping its direction.
Right. Yeah, he's definitely a hands-on leader, and he brings that same intensity to all of his ventures. He sets these ambitious goals. He pushes his teams to the absolute limit, and he isn't afraid to get into the weeds of the engineering and the design.
And then there's the Hyperloop.
Mm-hmm.
His concept for this high-speed transportation system that could revolutionize travel as we know it.
Yeah.
It's another example of his outside-the-box thinking. He looked at what he considered to be this really.
Well, there was definitely a lot of skepticism early on. A lot of experts, they dismissed it as impractical or even impossible. But true to form, he didn't let the doubters deter him. He released this detailed white paper,
Yeah.
Outlining the technology, and he challenged other people, to develop it, and he even committed to building a test track, himself.
It's that willingness to put his money where his mouth is. I mean, that's what I find so remarkable. He's just not afraid to take risks, even if it means facing public scrutiny or even potential failure.
That's a key element of his leadership style, right?
Yeah.
He's willing to challenge, conventional wisdom. He wants to push the boundaries of what people consider possible, and he inspires other people to do the same thing. He surrounds himself with brilliant people, and he empowers them to solve these really complex problems.
But that drive for perfection, that relentless pursuit of his goals, I mean, it can also have its downsides, can't it? The biography mentions his demanding work ethic,
Right.
and his sometimes abrasive personality. It sounds like he could be a pretty tough boss. Oh yeah, there's no question that he's demanding. He sets incredibly high standards, and he expects his employees to work long hours. But there's also this deep respect for his vision,
Yeah.
and for his commitment to making a real difference in the world. It's interesting, how polarizing a figure he is. People either seem to love him or hate him, but there's no denying the impact that he's had. He's revolutionized the space industry.
Yeah.
He's accelerated the adoption of electric vehicles, and he's inspired countless entrepreneurs to think big,
Yeah.
to challenge the status quo.
Right. He's a catalyst for for change,
Yeah.
a disruptor who's not afraid to shake things up and to challenge these established industries. And he's shown that it's possible to achieve things that seem impossible if you have the right combination of vision and determination and a willingness to take risks.
So where does he go from here? What's next for Elon Musk?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? He's already hinted at plans to colonize Mars,
Huh?
to develop advanced artificial intelligence and even to create this brain-computer interface. It seems like his ambition just knows no bounds.
It's almost overwhelming to think about all the possibilities. He's certainly given us a lot to ponder. I think the key takeaway from this deep dive is that Elon Musk is more than just a brilliant entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He's almost like a force of nature. He's this visionary who's driven by this deep-seated belief that we can and we must solve the biggest challenges facing humanity.
Right.
Whether he succeeds in all of his endeavors, I mean, that remains to be seen. But there's no doubt that he's already left a pretty incredible mark on the world.
I think that's well said. He's a reminder that anything is possible. If you dare to dream big, and if you have the courage to pursue those dreams, with relentless passion and determination.
And that's it for our deep dive into the making of Elon Musk. We covered his early influences, his key decisions, his leadership style, and his core principles. And hopefully you've gained some insights into the mind of this this complex and fascinating figure. Until next time, keep exploring and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.